Hello, I'm Patty Morris. I'm Superintendent of Stillwater Central School District. Welcome to the first district-wide town hall. The second will be tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. And certainly the district wanted to provide you with opportunities to ask additional questions. For our parents, there is a form link that you can use to send those questions my way at the district level. If I don't have the answer, because it's very specific either to a student or to a program or a grade level, I'll defer, and I will make sure we get you those answers, whether it's your building principal who touches base or another administrator or provider, if that's the case. So certainly we'll look at that, but I'm really here to answer district-wide questions that have to do with the plan that we created for our district and the like. Before I get into the questions, I wanted to talk to you a little bit about some of the things I said the other day in the video that we created as an administrative team. So from as far back as March, we really set in motion two very specific and distinct guiding principles, and that is to provide a safe place to work and learn. That was very important to us to ensure that when we had discussions around food service, transportation, facilities, working virtually, that we wanted when folks came to the district from March until today and through today and beyond today, that it is a safe place to work and a safe place to learn. And as we continue to see this target moving, we continue to try to hit that bullseye with all of the things that we need to do to make sure that that occurs. The other guiding principle was that we were charged, and we took it very seriously, the transportation, the education, and the feeding of our children in the spring. It was important that we utilized our transportation department to assist us in feeding our students and in planning for our September start. We wanted to ensure that we have transportation that is aligned to our recommendations through the Department of Health and the CDC, so that we are transporting students safely. Education is the last and most critical piece, and that starts with making sure that students are ready socially and emotionally to learn, and then also our academics, and of course. And so all of that put together, that has been our guiding principles for the beginning of for this time and the beginning of our school year as we plan. Talked a little bit the other day about our plan components, and I won't go specifically into detail, just to talk a little bit about the process. Since the start, we thought we would be in school, as we all did, prior to talking about a September 14th start. And now we can say that and know that we will be able to see children in our hallways come September 14th, and we are thrilled about that. Ultimately, the goal is to have everyone here every day and live life as we expect to. And we can only do that with those safeguards in place right now. The planning process then, when we knew we weren't coming back for the 19-20 school year, began in early June. In the first couple of days of June, we pulled together multiple teams to talk about the many different facets of this planning process. Part of the plan that was submitted to New York State included our health and safety protocols. Please know that we are developing very specific protocols for all parts of the school day. So the bus, transportation in and of itself when to get here, getting off of the bus, screening upon entering the building, hand washing, training for hand washing, and educating our students and our staff about proper hygiene protocols to make sure that we have a safe learning environment and workplace. All of those things, we're developing those finer details. So some questions might come in and I might say, we are continuing to work on that. And that is the truth. We are working around the clock to make sure that we can roll out a plan that is something feasible and something that we can certainly offer and make sure it happens for you. Communication is so important. That's another piece that I just wanted to touch on. If you have questions that don't get answered tonight or tomorrow morning, and I will make sure that if they are sent my way, I will send that to the appropriate building principal. But ask your questions. It is so important that we get the information from those surveys, and I'll give you a little stats at the end, but we're getting there. We'd love 100% participation. If we don't hear from you, we're going to call you because we need to know. And because those numbers of how many students are choosing fully remote experiences versus the hybrid learning model at this time is what we can offer. It's going to drive our transportation routes and what our food service looks like, our routes within the hallways, and how we put up our signage. So all of that is important, and please go ahead and do that. And academic continuity is, of course, the basis of our plan. What does it look like for our kids? We are about school and schooling. We are about kids and educating. What does it look like? And so let me just briefly review the learning plan, UPK through 12th grade. UPK, kindergarten and first grade students, all special education students in the elementary school, and English language learners will attend in person every day. And Mrs. Tolman has schedules and lots of information coming your way. The logistics are certainly being worked at this time, again, hinging upon survey results. Grades 2 through 5 will be in person on an A/B day schedule. And if you missed what that would look like for your student, please go ahead and watch Mrs. Tolman's video, and you'll be able to see some examples of what that would look like. If you still have questions, reach out and ask her. Grade 6 students will be, the grade will actually be split in half and on-site on Mondays and Thursdays or Tuesdays and Fridays, following a regular period schedule for that letter day. On Wednesdays, students will have the opportunity for small group instruction and office hours. It'll be a combination of synchronous, live, and asynchronous learning. So that will be available to you. If you have any questions about 6th grade that haven't been answered prior to your survey, reach out to Mr. Houlihan. For 7th and 8th grade, we have a similar program. 7th grade will be on-site Mondays and Thursdays for the core subjects, and virtually Tuesday and Friday for all non-core classes, AIS and world language. 8th grade, very similar, except their days are Tuesday and Friday. Wednesdays, again, given set aside for office hours, small group instruction, and connecting with teachers and doing that remote work. Grades 9 through 12 are in person for core classes 1 day per week. Those will be assigned that's been reviewed, and also the students for grades 6 through 12 who are in self-contained special education classes will attend daily, as well as English language learners, and they will be daily. In grades through 9, I'm going to go back to that. I'm sorry. They will follow the written schedule for special area and world languages on the remote learning days. So combined, they will be receiving the in-person time as well as remote learning time with their teachers. There is an opportunity for you to choose what educational plan you'd like in this hybrid model for your child. And we understand really intimately, we understand what that means, and it's different for every family. There are job obligations, and there are remote learning, concerns. We want you to be in the know with what the district has planned, and with a full intention. The plan has been made with full intention, so that we can provide in-person learning for all of our kids at some points during the week, and also teach them remotely. So we understand that you have to have the opportunity to make that choice for your children. If you could please complete that reopening survey, 1 per child. If you have 4 children, you have to close out and open it up again and take that survey again. There's not a limit to the number. By Friday, that would be very good, because we need that information, as I referenced earlier, for transportation, food service, and our academic programming. It directly impacts what all of our guiding principles to transport, educate, and feed our children. So it's critical. Right now, we have more than 700 responses. We're looking for those other 300 children for someone to log in. If you're having difficulty with that link and that survey, reach out to your building principal. Let us know. If we don't hear from you, you're going to hear from us. So let's get that survey information in, because as soon as it is, we'll be able to set up those routes, decide what the food service looks like, and all of the above. At this time, I just wanted to send you to this slide. If you have additional questions after you view this, either in live now or by video, you can send your questions to reopening@scsd.org, or you can contact your building leader or department chair directly. So at this time, I'm going to leave that on the screen. I'm going to jump into the questions that we have that have already been asked a little bit earlier today. The first question is, how will lunch choices be made? That's a great question, because we really want to focus on what that looks like and have that be part of our students' day. Some of the very intentional work that we did was around food service and those in library. How can we get these services to our kids? With food service, we have a grab and go model where students will have, at least to begin, two choices, a hot dish and something that they can grab and go. So for example, a chicken patty may be available, but as well as our turkey sandwich. And as we understand the number of students who will be coming to us for lunches and how many are going to be bringing their lunches, what numbers we need, then we'll be able to expand on what that menu looks like and get the system down, and then we'll expand. Will the grading scale be the same as pre-COVID? Yes, it will. We will be going back to the model where students will have assignments fully graded, that interactive feedback. There will be assessments. Again, very important for all students to be in so they can have their assessments. And yes, it will be pre-COVID grading. Will extra help be available? As always, yes. Sometimes you need to reach out as a parent or a guardian. The students can certainly advocate for themselves, but this is all really about what I said earlier, communication. So if you're struggling with a concept, your child is struggling with a concept, they can reach out to their teachers via email, through the Google Classroom, and get those questions answered, and certainly get that extra help that's needed. Is the virtual learning synchronous with a 9-period schedule for high school? So if a high schooler isn't in 9th grade, and I'll use that as an example, a 9th grader would have in-person classes for their 4 core subjects on Monday. And then on Tuesday through Friday, there would be the opportunity for the 9-period schedule to be followed for the other classes, which includes world language and your special area courses. And they would follow a period-by-period schedule. So for some of those classes, they will be synchronous, and some of them, they will be asynchronous, where there will be work posted. It might be a project-based learning task. And so I will say, though, that if a student is in the middle of an art project, their teacher during period 3, if that's when their scheduled period for art is, will be online and available to assist if it's not a direct lesson. So you can expect synchronous learning and you can expect asynchronous learning. Will there be an accelerated program in the middle school? Great question. If you have acceleration on your child's schedule, and that you expect that will remain because they were in it last year, or you've anticipated that, we will have direct instruction for acceleration in algebra for the 8th graders, and in living environment for the 8th graders as well, and that it will follow that our typical plan. Will students in accelerated programs such as math and science in middle school be in-person or virtual? So there will be that combination thereof. They'll have that direct instruction and then a combination. Will students continue to have band virtually? At this time, yes, we will change as social distancing, CDC recommendations change for social distancing for the arts and for band and physical education. But at this time, it will be virtual. That is not to say that, though, once we get started, our band teachers would not have sessions during the school day when a student may be in school for that day. If schools close and students go virtual, will classes be asynchronous or synchronous teaching, especially in middle and high school? It will be a combination of both. And certainly, I think the model that you experienced in the spring when everyone was hurled into that situation will be very different if we go fully remote in the fall. If my child tests positive for COVID, how long will they have to make up work during quarantine? Again, I think I would think of that as a normal, so much of this we want to handle as much as we can as if this were normal schooling. So if your child is sick with COVID or pneumonia or the like, we would provide an opportunity for that work to be made up depending on the level of their illness. We know that this illness, some folks they're asymptomatic, and some folks are in a coma, and there's everyone in between. So we certainly want to be sure that if someone were ill, whether it's a staff member or a student, we're taking care on a case-by-case basis of what the needs are. First, to get them healthy, We want a safe environment first. We want folks to be safe, and then they can learn. Will students have homework, and how many hours are expected for homework? So that's a great question. I would believe that that's a better question for your high school principal, but I can say that you can expect homework that students would have had under the pre-COVID learning model. So that's a good rule of thumb. If you feel that you're getting inundated, contact your teacher. If you feel like it's not enough, contact the teacher, contact your principal, and we'll work through that because it is a different model. Will students be given a schedule for in-person block scheduling in middle and high school? Absolutely. Schedules will be coming out, again, driven so much by these results from the surveys that we need to have in signage so that there's no overlap and we can follow social distancing, and that also so spaces can be cleaned. Will supply lists be the same as previously given, or are they going to minimize the amount of supplies because much learning will be online? So that's being evaluated at this time. These are some of those finer details I referenced earlier. It makes sense that those supply lists would be reduced, and I know that the principals are working in discussions on that. Will students be able to bring in water bottles? Yes, we're very fortunate to have multiple well, they're not touchless, but multiple water fountains that fill bottles. Excuse me. Will teachers be given daily temperature checks? Everyone will be given daily temperature checks upon entering the building. And as I said in the previous video taped earlier this week, it would be wonderful if families got in the habit of checking temperatures as students leave, so that when they get to school, when we take the temperatures, that it's just a part of the process. They come in, they sanitize their hands, they get ready for their school day. So we encourage it at home, but we certainly will be checking everyone upon entry, as we currently are doing now. If a teacher has to be quarantined and with sub shortages, how will students be grouped for in-person learning for that class? Well, our goal would certainly be to put a certified sub in that position. We would also utilize the number of folks that we have here, certified staff, that maybe would be able to sub in district, and certainly we'll consider if it's a shortage is happening. And we have retirees. I'm actually on the teacher registry committee at our Wishy-Bosies with other superintendents, and we are working on some alternates for getting subs on that list who maybe are retirees in other districts, so certified folks. Will remote learning be taught by a certified teacher? Yes. That is our goal, and that is what we will be doing. We will ensure that. Will students with an IEP be considered special needs? If not, how will this be accommodated? So students with an IEP, and this was addressed in our video by Carolyn Manzella, our pupil personnel director, their IEP accommodations will be met. We do have some flexibility as given by the state for remote learning, but depending upon grade level. So again, if you're in the elementary grades, special education students will come daily. If you're in the middle school, through 12th grade, and you're in a consultant teacher model classroom, that would follow the AB schedule, but certainly that consultant portion of the IEP where there's that other teacher to help assist will be in place for those students. If your student is in a self-contained classroom in the middle high, those students would come every day. For kids that are going to school on the days they're home, will they still be remote learning or on their own? So that's a great question, and I think we have to get used to these terms, and we're going to use them interchangeably. Synchronous means live. So for some lessons, there will be that synchronous learning. There are detriments to that, however, when students are not able to be in their home or connected at that time. We've had feedback regarding that, so we have to consider our students, what's best for our students. So we want a combination of synchronous live instruction combined with asynchronous, where they have that learning that they had with their teacher in person, and then they do that practice. They connect with their teacher if they have questions, but it's on an asynchronous style, meaning that they're working through the Google Classroom platform, so teachers can respond to their questions there as well, and but not live for asynchronous. So it will be a combination thereof. Can you play sports if you are enrolled in virtual learning as a senior or any other grade level? That's a great question, and I think that may be different in different school districts. I would support that. If sports are going to happen, you are a registered student, and if you're participating, again, I will defer back to what our expectations are for athletes. So you're a student athlete. So if academics are on par, if you are meeting your grades, if you're not on the ineligibility list, that's in the high school. There's an ineligibility list. If your grades aren't where they need to be, that would also pertain. So that would be my goal. And let's just hope that our sports season does open up for us, and we are waiting on word and guidance for that. The next question is, how are we going to identify asymptomatic people? Well, certainly that question is difficult, right? Because we can't identify asymptomatic people, but certainly we have protocols that we are working on right now so that we can roll through and find out so that we can, when someone is referred to the nurse with symptoms, they may be cold symptoms, they may be pneumonia symptoms. We have a protocol in place and that we're working on, the administrators at this time, with our nurses. Our nurses are will be working with the Department of Health on that and being trained for through the Johns Hopkins contact tracing training, as I myself will be. So identifying an asymptomatic person is very difficult, but catching those symptomatic folks is very important. And one of the things that I took away was a great takeaway from the Saratoga Hospital meeting that I had with the Chamber of Commerce was the fact that Saratoga Hospital can boast that they have a zero spread rate amongst their staff, and it's because that people are wearing their masks when they're supposed to be. There are rules and protocols in place, and those masks are being worn, and they really pushed for the idea that if we have those protocols in place, and you can always wear your mask. When there are opportunities to take it off, is only because you are safely distanced from folks, and that's really going to be key in keeping you safe and keeping others safe. All right. Just waiting to see if any more questions come in. I'm going to just review quickly tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. If you have more questions and you're thinking about them, want to maybe decide if you have other questions. Okay, I'm just looking to see. I have some other questions that came in from our from the reopening at scsd.org site. You can do that. You have an opportunity to meet with me again tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. It may be longer, it may be shorter, depending on how many folks turn out. And then next week, our principals will be having their town halls. I do encourage you, if you have questions now about the survey that you need to turn in tomorrow, and I thank you immensely for those of you who are looking to get that done by tomorrow, and for those who already have, we would appreciate that. I do have a question here. Is there a way to take the students' temperatures before getting on the bus in the morning so they don't pose exposure if they do happen to have a fever upon entering the building? So we encourage families to take those temperatures. You would know that students will be entering the bus with a mask on. All students on the bus up to 22 students will have a mask on. They will get off with a mask. They will be screened at the entrance of the buildings. If at that point someone presents with a fever and they were missed at home, someone forgot to take their temperature, we will be doing it here. They will then go to our waiting room and we'll ask for you to come pick them up. So that's a great question, because it really helps us work together in concert to ensure that we're not bringing sick students into the building with flu or pneumonia either, and that we're able to take care of them and give them the care that they need to get healthy so that they can be in school. I'll give it a couple of more minutes. I know the other day there we had our video, and I thank you, our community, for supporting us. This has been nothing that anyone has experienced. I was speaking with the principals earlier, and we it's challenging, but we accept this challenge, and we like to problem solve. I think that part of what we do, and here at Stillwater, we do it very well, is to problem solve. Our faculty and staff have been amazing through this process as well. So I do feel that we have a good handle on things. Again, things could change in a heartbeat. The question just came up. If the community spread increases, is there a process in which a student can switch from in-person to virtual? So let's talk a little bit about that community spread. If community spread increased to the point where where we were shut down, that would occur, and everyone would go virtual. But if you were uncomfortable and you wanted to switch from in-person to virtual, that could be accommodated. You would contact your building principal immediately. However, if you wanted to go from virtual to in-person, you would need to do that mid-year at the end of January, and that quite simply is just because we can't accommodate so many requests and change bus routes and the cafeteria and the academic piece in the classroom. So we need a commitment to in-person so that we can plan ahead. Are the children in self-contained classrooms taking specials such as gym and music? So music, yes, definitely. Gym, we're going to bring them outside, and then there will be some other alternate ways that we'll do gym, but all students are doing that. Yes, absolutely. Special area for everyone. Okay, at this time, I'm going to end the town hall. Thank you so much for joining me. Thank you for watching. If you are watching the video, if you have any more questions, send them my way for tomorrow's town hall at 10 a.m. Have a great night.